All right, guys, we are here, CEDIA 2023. This is our last video, but not the least, because we've got Anthony Grimani. We're going to be talking about his demo room. Hey folks, I'm Gene Delasallo with Audioholics. We are with the man, the myth, the legend, Anthony Grimani. How are you doing, my friend?
Well,
my fellow Paisan. Awesome. So this is the first time we've actually met face to face, even though we've known each other for years. Right. Neither of us are getting any younger, you know.
Oh, well, you know, time passes.
It does. So I was really happy that I had to spend 15 minutes in this demo. It didn't feel like 15 minutes. There's a lot of technology packed in this room. Anthony was in here calibrating. Matthew Pose was in there helping out. A lot of engineering went into this room. Why don't you give us a rundown? I see the sponsors here in this room. You got Storm Audio, Seymour AV, of course, Grimani Systems. Give us a rundown of what was involved in building this room.
Right, that's a good one. So Seymour decided we're going to do a booth. And then they contacted Storm and, hey, do you want to join us? And then Storm contacted us. Hey, do you want to join us as a speaker supplier together with row 1 seating? And like, okay, sounds great. We started with the dimensional plans of the booth, which is what you're seeing behind us. Hiding behind this dress is actually a rental space. It's 24 by 16 by 10. And we looked at the space and did our normal engineering gig, which is we calculated all the standing waves, all the echo character, where do we put speakers, where do we put seats, etc., like we normally do when we're doing a theater for a client, and produced a plan set and said, okay, this is what we're going to do. So then we built up all the speakers, got all the absorbers, diffusers, all that stuff, made the plan, and came over here and set it up. So what's interesting about this is you only get one shot, and you only get really 3 days, 2.5 to 3 days. So you got to design it and do it right. It's not like, oh, we're going to mess around with it until it sounds right. It's like, it's got to be like clockwork. What we did is put everything per the engineered plan, fired it up, calibrated on the standards, fine-tuned it with what's called Dirac Art, and the rest is exactly what you heard, no more, no less. So no trial and error. It worked right out of the gate, which is what we like to do. Do it right the first time.
So you had 23 or 24 speakers, including the subs?
There's 23 speakers, including the subs.
So let me tell you guys, before we get into the nitty-gritty, I just want to give you my demo experience. We listened to, there was a track, an acoustic singer, but also with a guitarist, Derek Trucks, I believe, from the Allman Brothers. You just got transported into the concert. The bass was really tight, deep, and punchy. A little bit elevated, to be honest with you. But my understanding is you had it elevated because it was a very noisy show floor when you were doing the demos earlier today or yesterday.
Right.
But even though the bass was elevated, it was not boomy or annoying. The treble was not bright. Everything was concise. The placement was excellent. The video quality was excellent. It was just a great immersive experience. Why don't we talk a little bit about your speaker system that's behind all of this, because many of the speakers we couldn't see because you had it behind acoustic treatments.
So everything was hidden. So what we did here is we designed and built a room that would be like a home cinema, where you don't see all the treatments, you don't see all the speakers because they're all hidden behind a stretch fabric dress. So what was in the room was behind the acoustically transparent screen from Seymour Screen Excellence was 3 of our Rixos XL, our extra large speakers, which is this product over here. It's a 4-way, high sound pressure level, super great speaker that plays really loud, and at low levels, it's like an audiophile speaker. It actually got a CE Pro award for Best New Speaker this year, so I'm really proud about that. So there's 3 of those for left center right behind the screen. To the sides of that was a pair of subwoofers, our mid-size subwoofers, and under the screen was our new Infrasonic 21-inch subwoofer called the IS-21. So behind the screen, 3 front speakers, two I would say mid-bass subwoofers, and 2 Infrasonic subwoofers. Then along the side walls, is an array of our Rixos M for media. So there's a pair for the wide channels, 2 pairs for the sides, one pair for the back. Also in the back corners is 2 more of our mid subwoofers. We're building what I like to call a quad subwoofer array to properly pressurize the middle of the room. So when you're listening to that music track and you're feeling that boom that you get from a kick drum when you go to a live concert, that doesn't just come from loud subwoofers. That comes from subwoofers that are actuating the pressure in the room without standing waves.
Right.
So standing waves is this weird thing that resonates the room and makes bass sound mushy at any level, whether it's low, mid, or high. And here we can produce bass that's a bit elevated to get over the background noise of the show without it sounding mushy.
But also making it sound consistent from seat to seat.
Right. It's really important that whatever seat you're sitting in, you actually feel and hear the bass the right way. So you only sat in one seat, but during calibration, I checked all the seats. It sounded really consistent. Finally, since this is an immersive audio Atmos demo, we had 6 ceiling loudspeakers using what we call the Rixos WD+. It's a wedge-shaped loudspeaker that aims the speaker into the room to fill up the top area.
So interestingly enough, we have 23 speakers, 23 connections from amplifiers to the processor. How did you simplify that by not having a rat's nest of cables?
So that could be a total rat's nest. This system is actually a technology first. We're using what's called AES 67, which is AES stands for Audio Engineering Society. It's an open format standard that dictates or whatever standardizes how you can put to hundreds of channels of audio through a network connection, to a Cat6 cable. In the case of this room, we're using a Storm Audio Evo processor, which is a brand new product that takes HDMI in for up to 7 sources and spits out a decoded signal through one Cat6 cable.
This is digitally, yeah.
Digital.
Yeah.
So but in the traditional decoder, you would have as many connections as there are channels, and it becomes a rat's nest. That rat's nest can pick up noise. It can pick up hum. It can pick up distortions. We're not doing any of that. The audio is coming out direct digital, right? Going out of the decoder into a network switch, standard network switch, to distribute to all of the amplifiers that are dedicated to driving the speakers. So this speaker gets an amplifier that's a 4-channel amp. It's fed by a Cat6 cable that's got the data for it. Finally, the way that all works is after you connect it all, you open an interface, sort of a network interface application where you go, okay, output 1 of the Storm, you're going to that amplifier. Output 5, you're going to this amplifier. So you're kind of building the matrix virtually the same way as in the old way. You would go, this wire goes to here, but
right.
No wires.
Yeah. And it's important to note that every speaker in the system was active, right? There's no passive crossovers.
Right.
You did all your digital correction with EQ.
Right. So this line of speakers, the Grimani Systems speakers, are all active. There's an amplifier for the tweeter, an amplifier for the woofer, and the crossover between them is all done in digital signal processing with very, very high bit rate and very, very big bit depth. So it's very clean, and it just gives you a better sound because it's way more precise.
So if someone wants to build a Grimani system like this,
yeah,
who sets it up for them? Do you go fly out and you calibrate and set this whole process?
One of us guys in the end goes and calibrates it. But before the calibration, somebody has to engineer the room, figure out like what are we putting where. Somebody has to build the room and add the acoustical treatments in the seats and everything else. And then somebody has to come over and tune it. So the design can be by us or other designers. There's other very competent designers out there. We do offer a design service. The installation is done by typically an integrator. We have a whole bunch of licensed, authorized integrators around the world. And then the calibration is one of us comes over. It's either me or our chief engineer, Manny. We'll come over and make sure this is all fine-tuned to the best of what they need.
Well, it was a great demo experience. I really enjoyed this, to finally hear all of your best engineering practices in one room, even though it was a busy show floor. You did a good job isolating the sound from outside. Everything sounded even and consistent to me. And I want to give a little plug to row 1 for the seating, because look, we were at Audioholics Live last month, and it was my first experience with row 1. Those seats were really comfortable. It was just a well-engineered room, Anthony. It's one of my favorite demo experiences at the show, and I was glad to finally sit down, spend some time with you here. Guys, if you like this video, please hit the thumb up, hit the subscribe. Don't forget about our Patreon channel at patreon.com/Audioholics. We appreciate your support. You get direct access to me if you want to suggest video topics. And until next time, my friends, keep listening.